We live in an era of total saturation. We carry high-speed, global communication networks in our pockets, yet we report record-high levels of psychological burnout. We are surrounded by more information than any generation in history, and yet many of us feel more disconnected than ever. Look at a 20-year-old named Tanya. By all standard metrics, she is successful. She lives in a major city and has access to abundant resources, but the weight of constant expectations is starting to take a physical toll. Recently, her stability began to fracture. She failed a major career exam, and shortly after, a close friend committed a severe social betrayal. Her support systems are failing her all at once. To find some breathing room, she left the city. She traveled to a remote, under-resourced village, hoping that a simpler environment would provide the clarity she lost in the noise. There, she met an 80-year-old widow named Seraya. Seraya lives in extreme material poverty, owning little more than 2 clay pots and a creaky wooden bed. 30 years ago, her only son moved to the city and never looked back. Tanya has high resources, but they are weighed down by high stress. Seraya has nothing. Our standard logic suggests that Seraya's isolation and lack of resources should lead to profound misery, but the observation contradicts the logic. In the days Tanya spent watching her, Seraya appeared consistently content. She hums tunes while feeding the birds and offers genuine smiles to strangers who don't even acknowledge her presence. This creates a difficult question. Why does possessing every modern advantage often leave us with a psychological vacuum, while certain people who have lost everything manage to build such profound emotional resilience? Tanya eventually asked Seraya for an explanation. She wanted to know how a woman who is entirely alone, forgotten by her own child, avoids being consumed by bitterness. Seraya's answer revealed a specific mental architecture. She explained that she wasn't born with this outlook. Her peace is an active, defensive construct she had to build for herself while navigating her own storms. The first mechanism in that build is radical acceptance. She treats acceptance as a protective boundary for her mental energy. It isn't about liking the situation, it's about protecting your energy. When Seraya saw her son happy in a new life without her, instead of demanding he fulfill his duty, she walked away. She realized that she couldn't control his choices or force him to offer affection. By refusing to engage in that struggle for control, she kept her internal emotional energy intact. The second mechanism is awake gratitude. Seraya defines this as a hyper-awareness of immediate environmental details. It's a form of attention that functions independently of how much money you have in the bank. While Tanya had spent years looking past her surroundings to focus on the next goal, Seraya focused intensely on micro-details. She found real utility in the sound of the birds or the movement of the shade under an old tree. This suggests that gratitude is a skill of perception. If we don't practice finding utility in these immediate small details, we may find that even our largest successes feel hollow when we finally reach them. But the internal defenses don't change the fact that Seraya is physically alone. She lacks the traditional family support network most of us rely on for security and companionship. To address this, she uses a third mechanism, purpose over pain. Rather than dwelling on her isolation, she provides utility to the village by helping children with homework and preparing herbal remedies for the sick. This illustrates a psychological displacement effect. By focusing on others' needs, the cognitive space available to dwell on her own pain is naturally reduced. Think of it like carrying a heavy bag for a neighbor. Prioritizing helping someone else temporarily lowers the perceived weight of your internal burdens. Seraya's life reframes the experience of isolation. By making herself useful to those around her, she creates a sense of belonging that doesn't depend on the family members who left her behind. Eventually, Tanya returned to her life in the city. Her external problems were still there. The exam was still failed, and the friends who betrayed her were still gone. The environment remained hostile. But Tanya's internal approach had shifted. She stopped spending her energy trying to chase or change people who weren't interested in her well-being. She began looking for small ways to be useful to other people in the city who were clearly struggling with the same burnout she had felt. She realized that internal peace isn't a gift given to us when our lives become perfect. It's a structure that must be constructed deliberately, right on top of the chaos. True resilience requires the strength to let go and the choice to be kind before the world is kind to you. Your heart deserves peace. Don't wait for the world to give it to you. Build it yourself.